Hello and welcome to part 4 of the Total Drama What If series. Today is Justin's Island episode, and we are going to be exploring what if Justin used his looks to save himself in Not Quite Famous. So, of course, we will talk about our first thing is that the first 4 episodes go the same. So Not So Happy Campers part 1 is the same, and Not So Happy Campers part 2 is the same with Ezekiel getting eliminated. The Big Sleep is the same with Eva getting eliminated, and the Dodge Brawl is the same with Noah getting eliminated. But this brings us to Not Quite Famous. Now, for the actual challenge part of Not Quite Famous, it goes exactly the same, because Justin goes in canon, he goes here, so that's fine. But after they get to the post challenge, Heather gets Lindsay, Beth, Owen, and Izzy, but Justin overhears Izzy getting. How it happens is Justin just so happens to overhear Izzy getting recruited. So Justin walks over while Heather is talking to Izzy, and wows Izzy into being on his side. And Heather and Justin both start trying to convince her at the same time, but she ends up going with Justin. So because of this, that's 5 votes right here. And Justin thinks he has 6 votes because he thinks he has Cody too. But Cody actually votes Trent. So these 4, Heather tries to convince somebody else. But these 4 votes for Justin. These 5 vote for Heather. And finally, Cody votes for Trent. Meaning that if Justin just locked in and used his freaking whole skill that he uses for all of action on literally one character who he literally uses it on in the Total Drama Island special, Heather would have been out 4th if Justin wasn't so stupid. So yeah, huge ripple effects right there. This leads to freaking the Sucky Outdoors, and I don't think anything changes in the Sucky Outdoors besides the fact that this team does even better. The Screaming Gophers does even better without having to deal with Heather. Now, one interesting thing is Lindsay and Beth have no idea what they're gonna do now that there's no Heather anywhere. So Justin goes and seduces both of them into being on his side, along with continually keeping Izzy on his side too. And Izzy, he's basically convinced Izzy that Justin is just playing these two, but actually likes Izzy. So yeah. Izzy obviously likes that. Maybe not this much, though. This is kind of a wild picture. So yeah, this is a new group of 4 now. But it doesn't matter for this episode in particular, because this is when the Killer Bass lose due to Katie and Sadie being idiots and getting lost, which makes them end up kicking out Katie. We'll quickly build our team dynamics up real quick. We have Duncan, yep. That should be good. Okay, this leads us to Phobia Factor, which Justin's fear would be, I actually researched into how many people got their fears right versus didn't. So, Justin's fear would be to look ugly, which he would fail, but also Lashana fails, and Cody fails. So that's 3 people failing to Duncan passing, because Courtney and Duncan are chill right now, and Courtney helps him. And then just more of these people fail than these people. So when it comes to it, Tyler still gets voted out for having a terrible fear that he didn't pass, being the chickens. Sorry, Tyler. Then we get to Up the Creek. And with Up the Creek, this is originally the episode in which Izzy gets chased off by the RCMP. So, what happens is this episode, Justin has gotten sick of Izzy, and basically basically makes it to where he just basically tells Izzy after the challenge he actually hates her and she's super annoying. Like, he was expecting to drop her eventually, but like, it has been brutal having to deal with her craziness for even just the past few episodes. So and you can show that through Phobia Factor, Sucky Outdoors, and everywhere since Heather got out. So Izzy goes into a like crazed outrage and freaking tries to kill Justin out of craziness. But eventually the RCMP show up while she's doing that, and she says she'll never take me alive, and then runs into the woods. So Izzy hates Justin's guts and vice versa, and then also goes away. Yeah, this leads us to Paintball Deer Hunter. And in Paintball Deer Hunter, yeah, it doesn't really... I mean, like, Beth and Lindsay are still fully under Justin's control, but it doesn't really matter because this episode, everyone votes either out of pity or just by not liking him, but it doesn't matter. Everyone votes for Cody because Cody gets mauled by a bear. So obviously they don't want someone who's been mauled by a bear on their team. Well, unless you have Noah here, but that was last video. This brings us, this is kind of like flying through these. These videos are going to get shorter and shorter since I can just, y'all have already, I'm assuming if y'all are watching them in order, y'all already know a lot of the basic stuff that like a lot of people just get out, like Cody getting mauled by a bear or Tyler getting voted out for the chickens. There's very few times where that kind of stuff's going to change, so yeah. I can skim past it a little faster, but if you can't take the heat, this is originally where Beth gets out, but that doesn't actually happen this time. Instead, I think I think these three would be kind of good, but they don't have to waste time moving or screwing with Heather, but they still have Owen here, and I think Owen eats all the food, so I think they still lose, but just barely. So when it comes to elimination, I think Justin gets Lindsay and Beth to vote Gwen to vote Trent, because they've gotten really, really close. And he wants to have full control over the women. He's already got Lashana like kind of under his wing, but he knows Lashana won't vote for Gwen as well, so he is able to convince Lashana to just vote for Trent, and Lashana regrets it immediately after doing it, but it's too late, and Trent is sent home, and Lashana's like, I don't know, maybe Owen did it, because if it's a majority, Gwen knows it's either Lashana or Owen voted for Trent. So yeah, now Gwen's mad at Owen, and Lashana feels extremely guilty. So goodbye, Trent. I don't know why you keep getting cooked in these episodes. This brings us to Who Can You Trust? And Who Can You Trust is originally when Sadie gets out, and with no reason to change that, yeah, goodbye, Sadie. I don't think anybody will miss you. So, the besties have the exact same plot line. Then we have basic straining, and realistically, this is when Harold rigs the votes, and now that they have Justin on this team, which Lindsay and Beth trust with their lives, I think that this half will do good, but Gwen won't trust Owen or Lashana, so I think that they'll do a little worse. But do they do worse than the Killer Bass because of that? Because I think it's probably... I don't know. I don't think so. Because I think it's actually, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it's... Is this the one where Gwen gets her freaking pants ripped off, or is that a different episode? Oh no, that's later. Never mind. This is the one that's Chef, right? Yeah, okay, this is the one that's Chef. Because of that, I think the Killer Bass are so much stronger, but in universe, the Screaming Gophers win, so there's no reason for them not to. Because of this, Harold, just like in canon, rigs the votes and gets Courtney out. It just makes sense. And then directly after that, in Extreme Torture, this is originally when Harold gets out, and I think without Trent, maybe could Gwen still? Yeah, no. Everyone's good. So I still think it is the Killer Bass that lose this, and Harold is eliminated. So this brings us to our merge. Actually, before our merge, which again, I forgot to freaking bring the merge down from the last video, so that's great. 1 second, y'all. Let me just quickly bonk, 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 bonk. Okay. We have, coincidentally, I don't know how this keeps luckily happening. I'm not trying to get this to happen, but we have 5 guys and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 girls. And it's interesting, you know, because we instead of who's the guy? Instead of Trent, we have Justin, and Justin would just refuse. Justin wouldn't do any of it. But they also have Owen. Meanwhile, on the girls, they have Beth instead of Heather. So I think realistically, the guys still win with Owen locking in the shot. So it doesn't matter too much though, because it's just the reward challenge. So the merge hits, and we of course have Justin, Owen, Duncan, DJ, and Jeff, as well as Lindsay, Beth, Gwen, Lashana, and Bridget. Now, 2 people are brought back, and those 2 people would be Eva and Izzy, because Eva and Izzy are in the same spots. However, Izzy now hates Justin's guts, like absolutely despises Justin. So just like Eva's going after Bridget, Izzy is going after Justin. And I think being so enraged, I think Izzy wins immunity, and she tries to I think she wins immunity against Eva and Lashana, being so enraged and determined to get Justin out. So also she's crazy, so she just walks out. So I think Justin and gets Lindsay and Beth. But I also think that Duncan decides to make the guys alliance, but he purposely leaves Justin out of it, but he makes it with obviously the 4 guys as in canon. Then Gwen, Lashana, Bridget are all here, but Bridget still likes Jeff. And then finally Eva's here and Izzy's here. And it came down to Izzy, we'll say it came down to Izzy and Eva in the end, and Izzy won. So I think what happens is, since they can't vote out Izzy, these 3 just vote with these 3, and also these 4, and everyone votes out Eva pretty easily. But yeah, kind of funny how the 2 people who came back, whoever lost that final challenge out of them would have just went right back. So yeah, there's Eva. Then we get to Search and Do Not Destroy, where it is pretty clear that the antagonist would get immunity. So that is going to be Justin gets immunity from this. And realistically, I think the guys probably team up with Izzy, who's been very vocal about being anti-Justin. And it doesn't really matter what these 3 do. Not that they want to do much, but they team up with Izzy, and they get one of Justin's allies out, and they decide the bigger threat out of the 2, I did not mean to drop that, is Beth. And the reason they decide it's Beth is because, oh, by the way, I should mention, nobody notices Beth's little, like, freaking tiki idol. That never comes up. Nobody ever notices it. She just has it. So she just has bad luck through the entire show. And then she shows it. She's like, man, I thought I had good luck, showing the thing right at the end. And then everyone's like, oh! And then she gets kicked off even quicker than she was going to get kicked off. So yeah, also Beth is just smarter than Lindsay. So yeah, they mainly did that instead of doing Bridget. They mainly did that as a way to show Justin that he doesn't have as much control as he thinks he does. Also, another thing, there's no Heather and no Trent, so obviously that doesn't happen like it does in this original episode. Then we have Hide and Be Sneaky. Now, in Hide and Be Sneaky, this is literally where the exact same plot takes place, honestly. And this is where, at the end, Duncan, DJ, Jeff, and Owen, who are pretty good with Izzy, decide to vote or Bridget so that Jeff can show his loyalty. Now, Jeff is really confused on how come Izzy's allowed in, because she's a girl, when Bridget isn't. And Duncan's like, well, it's obvious. Izzy's a huge shield for votes from Justin and Lindsay, while Bridget has connections with both Gwen and Lashana. So, that's why. And these four vote Bridget, while Jeff betrays them and gets Bridget, Lashana, and Gwen to vote for Justin, as well as these two just voting Izzy. So it ends up with 4 votes Justin, 2 votes Izzy, 4 votes for Bridget. So it comes down to Bridget versus Justin, and Justin not only seduces Bridget into giving her the win, but kisses her in front of Jeff, knowing it's gonna piss off Jeff. So Jeff freaking crashes. And yeah, sorry Bridget, you're eliminated. Jeff now hates Justin, but also these 4 guys, well, that's not a guy, but these 4 have told Jeff, or make Jeff sleep outside. Actually, I don't think they make Jeff sleep outside. They'd see what happened and feel bad for him. So yeah, this leads to our next episode called That's Off the Chain. Everybody knows this is the bullshit episode. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I think literally the exact same thing happens. Lindsay gets seduced by Justin with her really good skills to help him into the place. And Justin gets first, Lindsay gets second, and Lindsay gets destroyed. And everyone else makes it as they do in canon. Sorry, Lindsay. Then we get to Hook, Line, and Screamer, which once again, Justin doesn't scream because it would damage his cheek muscles, or his throat muscles. So, instead, DJ is still the person eliminated here. This then leads to Wawanakwa Gone Wild, which is originally the episode where Izzy gets eliminated. And this is not what I think happens, because you would say, oh, Justin freaking gets these 3 to vote out her for being a huge threat. But that doesn't work, and when he tries to seduce Gwen and Lashana, both of which have partners, or at least something, with Harold and Trent, they both turn him down aggressively, and Justin kinda gets cooked here and eliminated in Wawanakwa Gone Wild. Now, there is currently no new people, really, except for Izzy, who has lasted 1 more episode, so we can continue with this as normal. Okay, we're back. Okay, so we get to Tri-Arm by Triathlon, and in this episode, I think Gwen and Jeff still get put together. Owen and Izzy. What the fuck was that? Somebody just yelled downstairs. Owen and Izzy, actually no, not Owen and Izzy, because they're probably together, like, they're probably boyfriend and girlfriend by this point. So, probably Lashana and Owen, and then Izzy and Duncan. And I think the team that wins this the fastest, realistically, is probably Gwen and Jeff. So, Gwen and Jeff both get immunity, and they both have a great time. Now, the original plan this episode was everyone was going to turn on Jeff and get him out. Except Gwen, obviously, because she just had that whole moment with Jeff, so she wouldn't want to do that. But now that now that Jeff along with Gwen have immunity, the 4 guys are like, the 3 guys and Izzy are like, all right, we'll just take out Lashana and then take out Jeff next time. But instead, Jeff actually switches up on them and decides that he wants to be going with Gwen and Lashana, and he wouldn't do this in canon, but I think with Izzy being around, he would just get sick of being around Izzy at least, as well as Duncan and Owen. So he and plus Jeff and Gwen bonded even more than they bonded in canon. So I think these three suddenly turn and they decide to vote going with that logic of because Jeff also overhears Izzy spill it, which is that they were secretly going for Jeff. Izzy accidentally spills it to him because Izzy's crazy. So Jeff hearing this and also bonding with Gwen and also getting kind of sick of these three, especially her, goes with these three, and they take the same logic and the three of them vote Owen, while the three of these people still vote Lashana because these two are immune. And in a Lashana versus Owen thing, they bring back the thing from the Brunch of Disgustingness. I feel like that's what Chris would do, is he'd bring it back for a rematch. And Owen still barely wins, meaning Lashana is taken out 6th. But what do we do for Hot Capture? Well, Katie and Sadie are still there, but they wouldn't start it with Lashana. So would they start it with somebody else, or would everybody actually vote? I think for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna say they still start it with the second most likable person there, which I've debated on, because I don't know if I'd consider it to be Owen or it to be Jeff, but I think I'm going to put it with Owen. So they all vote, or they all say Owen's name a bajillion times, and Owen is eliminated 5th. This brings us to Camp Castaways, which has, with Gwen and Jeff becoming really close friends. Remember, Gwen still has Trent, Jeff still has Bridget. With them becoming really close friends, they will both be a lot more sane, as well as Duncan already being here and being fine. And Izzy's probably used to it and loves this challenge, so this probably goes pretty well for them. Then for Are We There Yeti, I think obviously they team up with Gwen and Duncan. Duncan and Izzy think Jeff is a traitor, even though they were literally going to betray him. So there's a pretty big rift down right here. There's a pretty big rift. So they team up and they team up, and I think realistically, who do I think wins out of this? Duncan lost an original, but it was because of Owen screwing up. So I think realistically, Izzy would know. Izzy would know. So I think Izzy freaking just knows her way around the woods and stuff so much that, because she was out there. Whenever she got voted out, she lived out there in the woods. So she would know. So sadly, Chef has to pick between Gwen and Jeff. And I think realistically, Chef, his personality, he'd probably go with Jeff. So yeah. This leads to I Triple Dog Dare You, where Duncan and Izzy try to go on Jeff. But I think realistically, it'd probably be Duncan that chickens out first. This is because Jeff went in the toilet, which I feel like I've explained like 14,000 times. Holy crap. I feel like Jeff, genuinely, I think this is the 4th time I think Jeff has gotten to the finale. No, there was one where it was Owen and Gwen, but this is the 3rd. 3 out of the 4 videos I've made today, Jeff's gotten to the finale. I did not know he was that locked in. So I think he still locks in, and Izzy is Izzy. So Duncan gets eliminated in I Triple Dog Dare You, which he's pissed about. And somehow we come to our finale with Jeff and Izzy. Jeff definitely deserves this win. He got betrayed. Izzy was a kind of just a pawn for a lot of different people, whether it be Justin or Duncan or I don't know, just a bunch of people. While Jeff had his whole arc, and also Izzy came back. Izzy won after coming back into the game, so I don't think she would deserve it as much. So yeah, everyone, including Gwen, pretty much, and Trent, everyone is going for Jeff, except for I'd say Duncan and maybe, I don't know, like Heather. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. So I am excited to talk about our next episode, because our next episode is going to be a very interesting one, because it's going to be all about Katie. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to catch y'all in the next one. See ya.